I can't believe this anime never got the attention it deserves. This has to be one of the most underrated shonens I have ever seen, and all because they say it doesn't compare to most anime shonens. To those, I give him this pick right here. Let's not rant about this, as I'm here to review, so let's get started, shall we? The story follows Saiga, who is a photographer who became a very different person ever since after the Vietnam War. Wouldn't blame him. He is pretty much a hardcore photographer and only takes pictures and covers stories that is important for the world to hear. Kinda reminds me of someone. What was it? Oh, that's it! Anyway, he gets info about a club that might have something for the public to hear, but as he sinks in, he soon sees that it's not only the biggest news story that he will cover, but he also must protect a girl who has the power of the gods. Now, this is where I don't get most reviewers on why they say this anime sucks. The story is pretty much one of the best well-told stories I have seen using the shonen layout. It has a typical story of meet mysterious person and try to protect her from a big organization, but the way they told it is really refreshing and there is a lot of plot twists I didn't expect coming. One thing that makes this story unique is the setting and the message that portrays here. The setting is Japanese city obviously, but the gritty feel really makes it stand apart. Throughout the story, it conveys a message of how money makes you a different person. In fact, when you have millions of money, you can be everything and become the most important person in the world. Greed can be what drives you forward. The best part about it is that it's subtle and does manage to flow naturally and not shove it down in our mouths like Gantz. With that, it managed to pace really well and you'll be glued to your computer screen as the story progresses at a steady pace. Now, it's not without its problems. One thing I don't like is how it tries to get the viewer's attention at times. Some moments it tries way too hard at times to get people invested in this anime. I notice on how heavy the themes are when it comes to sex and violence, but luckily it's rare and sometimes it adds to the plot. Another is that it has the monster of the week foreman, as the main hero must face other people who also blessed with the power. But it does make some cool action scenes and it does move the plot as well, so it's not too big to complain. My guess for the hate on this is that it's not up to par like other shonens, but you can't just let that be the factor of your own. You have to see it if it stands on its own. Which is why I think the story deserves a great score here. Art! When it comes to the art, it looks freaking amazing. It managed to capture the feel of the world that is known in the anime. Everything is slick and very detailed with the characters and scenery, as well as the action that we get to see. What I really like is how they managed to set the tone when it comes to its themes. What I'm saying is that when we see certain areas of a setting, they have a distinct description to represent how poor or rich they are. It makes the art really stand out because of it, and it lets you know how poor or rich by all the things around it. So overall, the art is really a big highlight here, which is something that everybody agrees on. Music! When it comes to the score of this anime, it's pretty great. The Up Girls Until was decent, and it has a few catchy tunes. But not that memorable, and the Funimation is pretty meh, but could not help but enjoy it. The first ending was pretty pale, but the second ending is so much better and catchy. When it comes to the background music, it managed to get some of the gritty tones and feels of the show and adds to what is going on. I swear it reminds me of cheesy, gritty 80s action music, and it's apparent in the action scenes. feel that it came from the 80s. So overall, the music is really enjoyable to listen to.
English dub versus English subs.
Now, when it comes to the voice work, I highly suggest you go dubs on this, and here's why. The thing is, the Japanese dub, while well acted, it's just so out of place. The thing is that it's way too wordy for its own good, and sometimes it isn't fitting here. Plus, the times where they speak American is just so bad. The dub not only does this better, but it has some of the best talents, like Christopher Sabat, Christopher Aries, Monica Irel, and many others. I feel that the dub gives the more darker feel to it when it comes to its topics. It makes certain situations interesting, like this scene with Sugaya talking to this kid about how the world works.
A word of advice. In this country, lives can be bought and sold on a whim. Should you deem it necessary to take my life, I suggest you make a lot of money and come buy it from me.
Damn, does that scene really makes him a badass Fred. So overall, I recommend the English dub when you want to watch this gritty anime.
Characters.
The characters here are pretty much good for the most part. The main protagonist, Saiga, really is one of the most interesting characters I have followed. The way he views the world is something I can relate to. I mean, he went through hell when taking place in the war, and the way he is now really shows how much experience he have. And when he gets into this situation, we get to see how he develops as a person, and he really feels like a realistic person taking in on what is going on in this corrupt world of Japan. Even when he got superpowers, he still acts like a normal photographer with some freak out moments. While he doesn't have the deepest character development, it works here. Kagura is your typical damsel, but does have her moments. Wish there was more of them. Choji has to be one of the best anime villains I have seen in anime. He pretty much understands how the world works, and he knows that he is no better. He is pure cold-hearted person with only rare moments of caring for others. Later on, you'll get to know why he is like this, and let me tell you, it hurts to see someone in pain. The side cast is very decent. Since it goes through Monster of the Week, we see many kinds of rich status people with each with their own personality and the power they got to represent them.
One who has transcended humanity.
You dress up nice, but your jawline's a giveaway. Should I slim it down for you?
What a surprise to find you alive. Clearly, you're not one of them. The old guard, the human weak. No, you're like me.
Choji's lackeys are the most memorable side cast to me. I don't know why, but their loyalty with their boss comes a long way, and it shows. Good example is when they tell the backstory of Choji, which I won't spoil because you got to see it for yourself. One character I did not care for is the crazy police chick. She is just too stereotype of a stalker, and not to mention that she is insane as hell. She does develop to the end, but the beginning she left me a bad impression, especially when he raped Saiga. I'm not kidding, folks. So overall, the cast is memorable, and because of Choji, he boosts the character score up a bit. Overall, I had a very fun ride with this anime. It's one that managed to capture the dark and gritty feel compared to most shows that came out in the newer seasons. If you want an anime that's dark and gritty that doesn't feel like an afterthought, then this is for you. It is really a shame this went obscure. I hope this helps it gets a little known attention, which is why with all the scores combined, it equals to a whole number of 4.75 out of 5. Fantastic! Well, this is the Animewolfgamer here, and I hope the next day will be even better. But considering what my next review is, yeah, pretty much.